Hello everybody, it's Chris Clark with discgolf.law. I'm back with you with news of another lawsuit in our sport. On February 22nd, transgender disc golfer Natalie Ryan sued the PDGA, the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and a company called 1000 Rated Productions, which is the host of the OTB Open, in federal court in California. Natalie's lawsuit claims that the PDGA's recently adopted policy on transgender athletes effectively prohibits transgender women from competing in the FPO division on the Pro Tour. She claims that under California law, this is discrimination and a violation of her civil rights. Specifically, her complaint that was filed in court says the policy adopted by the PDGA and the Disc Golf Pro Tour is arbitrary and capricious and in violation of Natalie's right to be free from discrimination based on her gender. She also alleges that the PDGA's new transgender policy targets her specifically and was adopted in direct response to her success on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. These lawsuit documents are available online. You can read them. I urge you to do so. The lawsuit goes on to allege that Natalie has suffered economic losses, mental suffering, emotional distress, indignity, and embarrassment, all as a result of the defendant's actions. Her lawsuit has 3 specific claims, and I just want to touch on each one of those real quick. The first one claims that the defendants, the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the PDGA, and 1000 Rated Productions, are violating California's Civil Rights Act. And the argument goes something like this. Under California law, transgender women are considered women, and they are entitled to the full and equal access to the accommodations, advantages, facilities, privileges, and or services of the PDGA and the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And so by excluding Natalie from competing in the FPO division, the defendants are denying her that full and equal access. The second claim is that the defendants are engaging in unfair competition under California law. They say the PDGA and the Disc Golf Pro Tour's conduct was unfair because it goes against public policy in California, and it gives these defendants an unjustified monetary advantage at the expense of Natalie's privacy, reputation, business, and occupation. It goes on to say that the defendants' actions are immoral, unethical, oppressive, and unscrupulous. And then the third claim is that the defendants intentionally interfered with Natalie's prospective economic advantage. Natalie says there is the probability that without this new policy, she would likely have enjoyed the economic benefit of winning or at least cashing in Disc Golf Pro Tour events and enjoying additional economic benefits in terms of sponsorships and endorsements. That's a summary of her 3 claims. What is she asking the court to do? She wants an injunction allowing her to compete in the OTB Open in California in May. She wants the court to prevent the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the PDGA from denying transgender women the right to compete in the FPO division, and she wants the injunction to prevent the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the PDGA from conducting business in California. But she's also asking for unspecified monetary damages to be proven at trial. She's asking that the defendants pay her attorney's fees. She's asking the court to impose punitive damages on the defendants, which are damages awarded for the purpose of punishing the defendants for their bad acts. There are an assortment of other, I think, less important things that she's asking for in there, but that's essentially a summary of what she's asking the court to do. In a previous video, I stated that I thought Natalie would have a difficult time legally challenging the PDGA's policy because very few states have passed any laws that address transgender athletes. And the laws that have been passed, at least the ones we were able to find, pertain only to student athletes and not professional athletes. Natalie's suit is not based on a statute that is specifically designed to protect transgender athletes. Natalie's suit heavily relies on the California Civil Rights Act, which prohibits California businesses from discriminating against persons in California based on a person's sex, race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, age, disability, or immigration status. Natalie's lawsuit is claiming that she has the right to be free from discrimination based on her gender, and this list of protected classes that I just read you from the California Civil Rights Act specifically cites sex as a protected class. So it's important to understand, under this California Civil Rights Act, sex is listed as a protected class, and according to the language of the statute, sex also includes a person's gender, and it goes on then to define gender to include a person's gender identity and gender expression. So what is gender expression? Under the statute, gender expression means a person's gender-related appearance and behavior, whether or not stereotypically associated with the person's assigned sex at birth. All that is to say, Natalie's status as a transgender female likely means that she falls within a class of people protected by the California Civil Rights Act. Now, due to the fact that the OTB Open exists, I think it's likely the PDGA, the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and 1,000 Rated Productions would be considered to be conducting business in California for the purpose of this law. For these reasons, I think that Natalie's chances of success in California are better than what we previously believed. Keep in mind, this is still a case of first impression, meaning we're aware of no existing case law in any state, including California, where a professional transgender athlete has sought to enforce their right to play in a professional sports gender-protected division. I can think of some defenses that the defendants will likely assert if and when they answer Natalie's complaint. And I'm sure that there are smart lawyers out there that will come up with some defenses that I haven't thought of yet. But there is one approach that the defendants could take that would stop Natalie's case in its tracks, and that is canceling the OTB Open. I don't want them to cancel the OTB Open. Selfishly, I plan to go to the OTB Open. I think that would obviously be a drastic measure to take. But consider this, the OTB Open is the only California stop on the 2023 Disc Golf Pro Tour. We're not aware of any other state that offers the same type of protection for transgender individuals as California. Natalie's lawsuit was likely filed in California for that reason. Her lawsuit relies solely on California law. If the Disc Golf Pro Tour were to take California out of the equation, the currently filed case becomes moot. And Natalie is now faced with figuring out if there's another jurisdiction that might offer her a chance of success. And as I said earlier, we're not aware of any other such jurisdiction. So some questions for you. Do you buy the argument that the PDGA and Disc Golf Pro Tour's new policy targeted Natalie specifically? You may recall from one of our previous videos that there are different requirements for transgender athletes competing in PDGA Pro Majors and Disc Golf Pro Tour events versus all other PDGA sanctioned events. And at the time that this new policy was adopted, there were very few transgender women competing on the Pro Tour, and Natalie was certainly the most successful. I think that's an interesting question. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And other than that, what should the PDGA and the Disc Golf Pro Tour do? Should they fight back and defend their policy? Should they cancel the OTB Open or just California Disc Golf Pro Tour tournaments in general? And if so, just for this year or indefinitely? What does that mean for the future of high-profile events in California? Should they let Natalie and other transgender women compete in the OTB Open in the FPO division? Really curious to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts.